obviously over there. It's a small beach in Rosedale. My name's Paul Rushworth-Brown, and I'm here with lovely author Lauren Ashley. And Lauren's written a fantastic book called Everything I Am. And so tell me about your new book.
So my new book is the first in its trilogy, Everything I Am, and it's basically a very steamy romance which follows a forbidden relationship. So a younger girl, older man, and she falls in love with her mum's best friend. So we start off the book basically in the past where their relationship begins, and then chapter 1 is set in 7 years into the future. And basically it follows the relationship of what happened to them, how they broke up, and how they potentially get back together.
Wonderful. Sounds intriguing. So tell me, what do you think? I mean, your first novel?
My first novel, yeah.
What is literary success?
I think even though the book is fiction, there is a part in the book that does follow some of real life experiences that I've been through, and I wrote it so that people could understand, life has its ups and downs, and it's how you carry yourself through them and how you get through them and to the other side that really matters. So if I can bring a little bit of romance and steam to people's life, I'm really happy, but I also want them to realise that we do touch on mental health issues, and we do touch on real life issues like stillbirths and miscarriages. So I really want to help people in that way.
Okay, so there's some pretty, I'd say, touchy subjects here.
Yes.
Is it difficult to write?
Absolutely. So when I wrote the book, I wrote it in a few months, and I found the most difficult scenes to write were the ones that I did go through myself. And because the book is in dual point of view, I've also put the male characters' opinions in there, so I had to really rely on my husband and his feelings when we were going through some of these real life issues. But I guess another facet to it is because the relationship is quite taboo, really understanding the dynamics of an age gap relationship and the challenges that come along with that as well.
Okay, great. Tell me, it's your first book. Obviously, you've had some book reviews already.
Yes.
Everybody has good ones and bad ones.
Yes.
Right? And how do you deal with them?
So if I wrote this book 10 years ago in my early 20s, I don't think I would have been in the mind frame that I am today, because I cared way too much about what people thought of me back then. So writing it in my early 30s has been sort of a gift, because I don't mind whether or not you like my book or don't like my book. I think that writing's quite subjective anyway, so there's always going to be people that love the tropes that you write and people that don't love the tropes. I feel that while 85% of the reviews have been really positive so far, and people have, thanked me for bringing Kinsley and Justin to their lives, the 15% that haven't loved it, I think feedback is a gift anyway. So really taking their opinions on board, using that for my next book to see how I can improve, asking them what they did and didn't like. But I know at the end of the day, it's not a personal reflection on me, it's a personal reflection on what they like.
It's any consolation, the first novel I ever wrote, I self-published. And the first review that I got absolutely trashed, right? And it was more like a personal attack than anything.
Some people are vicious.
And you've got to have a bit of an ego, or I do, to sort of like get over that and say, no, look, your stories are good.
Yeah.
Your stories are good. That person might not like it, but there's going to be another 100 that do.
100%, and I think there's something out there for everyone. So what I've found is when I've been asking people to look at my book or make a review, I've been telling them the warnings or the trigger warnings. So one person came back to me and they're like, oh, it was too steamy, too saucy. I'm like, what was in the trigger warnings? What the book is about.
Steamy, that sounds like the type of novel that I'd like to write. I read. Okay, so obviously there's some difficult situations in everything I am. What was the most difficult scene to write?
I think it would be the stillbirth scene because it did happen to me in my real life. Going back to that experience really sort of affected the way I wrote. So even when I went back to edit it, I found myself crying throughout those scenes, and it was quite therapeutic. But in the end, I think it helped me more so get through it and hopefully help other people get through it. Seeing my husband's point of view as well was quite confronting, because everyone really worries about the woman when they go through a situation like that, but we don't take time to reflect about what the man goes through as well. They might not physically go through it, but mentally I know for months on end, like my husband did. So those were the most challenging scenes.
Okay. If you could, so when did you start writing everything like that?
Yeah. So after my experience, I wrote in my notes that I wanted to write about it, and then I took some time to really process my grief, and I came back to it after my daughter was born. So we have a child now, a 2-year-old, and I got really bored on maternity leave. I'm one of these people that has to be doing something at all hours of the day. So she was quite a good baby, and when she was sleeping as a newborn, I pumped it out in about 3 months, and I just wrote pretty much 24/7. Went back to chapter 1 and I thought, what was I writing? How did that even make it onto the page? So there was a lot of editing process with it, and then I took the stab to send the manuscript off to publishers. So that was the journey.
Okay. Now, if you could tell or talk to that younger self when you first started writing the novel, what would you say to her?
I would say probably not write when you're so hormonal. I guess after having a baby, my hormones were everywhere. So some of the scenes, I sort of shocked myself. I didn't know where my mind went. And growing up in quite a religious family, I think it shocked a few people as well to read my writing on a page. So again, letting go of other people's opinions and just staying really authentically true to myself and putting the story out that I want to put out. So I think get it down on paper, go back and review, and it's okay if you make mistakes, because they can always be rectified, and you can always change the story.
Wonderful. Lauren, Ashley, Everything I Am. Sounds like an intriguing novel. Lauren, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Paul.